Okay, let's go over the practice test here. Number one, let's change the color here. When you have two chords, the individual pieces of the chord multiplied together equal the other two individual pieces of the other chord multiplied together. So we have 14 times 20 on one end equals 6 times 3x on the other. Okay, so I could multiply that together if I wanted to, or I could see, look at, I'm going to be solving for BE, and BE equals 3x, so I want to go ahead and keep the 3x there and just divide by 6. Okay, divide each of those by 2, and you get that, and 3 is not going to 20 or 7. So you have 140 thirds, which is what you see right there. Okay, number 7, we're just going to go across the page here, find the following measures. Okay, we have down here our given information. So it says ZXV right there is that, and YXW that. So we know these are vertical angles. We know vertical angles are congruent, which is why you see it set equal each other right there. So I solve that. 4x equals 42, x equals 10.5. Okay, so now I can plug that in. 10.5, 84 plus 12 is 96. That's why you see 96 there. And 4 times 10.5 would be 42 plus 54 is 96 right there, which obviously they should be because they're vertical angles. That means their linear pair is 84 each right here. So for a total of 180, the linear pair. Okay, and then so you fill in the other angles right here with either the 96 or the 84. Okay. All right, number 2. It tells me that this length is congruent to this length. Remember, that means that they'd be equidistant from the center. And also, their arc measures are congruent. So that arc must equal that arc. That's why I see x and x there. Okay, and it says if arc PQ equals 114, there's your 114. Find arc RQ. Well, RQ is the same as RP, and that total amount around is 360. So that's why you see 114 plus 2x equals 360. Subtract the 114 across, you get 296. Hold on here. That can't be. 214 is 36. That's 15. No, 240. 246. That's a 4 right there. 246. Yeah. I can read my own handwriting. And then divide by 2 and you get 123. So that is correct. Okay. Number 3. Explain why AB is or is not a diameter. Because this arc, CB, is 50 and this arc is 51. If it's a diameter, those arcs are the same. And then this should be at 90 degrees there, and that would be right there. So it's a perpendicular bisector, and it therefore bisects the arc as well. And this does not. Okay. Next one, let's see this number right here. 8. Find the radius. Arc AB is 12. So we know we're dealing with a fraction of the circumference. So that's x over 360 times 2 pi r equals the arc length. Okay, so that's why you see 12 there filled in. And angle AFB, they tell you what that is, 132. So that's why it's equals 132 or 360 times 2 pi r. We're trying to find r to the nearest tenth. Okay, so I can multiply 132 times 2 times pi divided by 360, get that answer, and do 12 divided by answer, and you get 5.2 inches to the nearest tenth. Number 9, find the exact radius with the circumference of 42 inches. Circumference formula is 2 pi r. It tells me the circumference is 42, so fill it in there. Solve for the exact radius. That means I divide by 2 pi on both sides. And that simplifies to 21 over pi inches. Do not forget the units or you lose a point. Maybe people forget it on the quiz. Losing a point. All right, number 4. If these are parallel, then the inside intercepted arcs are congruent. Okay, it says AD is 29, BC is 29. These are congruent here. Okay, which now means that their arcs are congruent as well. Right there. AD is parallel to BC. That's where the arrows are for parallel. Arc AD is 141. So that means this has to be 141. Arc DC is 8x minus 5. So that means arc AB is also 8x minus 5. That's a minus sign right there. So now I can add all of that up. So that equal to 360 degrees. That's how many degrees around a circle. I did all that right here. And then solve for x, and you get 11 halves. Okay? Number 11, or 10, find the area of the shaded region. That's the area of the triangle minus the area of the circle. That's what that says right there, area of a triangle minus area of a circle. Area of a triangle is 1/2 base times the height. It says AB is 8. So that makes this 8, right? If I split this into thirds, okay, for area of a circle, thirds, and each of these is 120 degrees. Well, then when I split these are all congruent, okay? Then when I split that 120 in half, it's 6 degrees up here. So that's why I blew this up right here. This would be the 6 degrees, which puts this at 30 degrees. So with 30, 60, 90. I know this length, the radius of the circle is 8, so I put an 8 in there. That's the 30-degree side. So the hypotenuse is double that, 16. And the 6-degree side is root 3 times longer than the 30-degree side. So it's 8 root 3. Okay, so now that's 8 root 3 right here. Okay, so that's also 8 root 3 right there. Okay, formula for area of a triangle is 1/2 the base times the height. Well, the height, we know from here to here is 16. From here to the bottom is 8, so it's 24. The height's 24. And I do 1/2 of the base. Well, the full base would be 16 root 3. Half of it is 8 root 3. So that's why you see 8 root 3 times 24 minus pi r squared with r being 8. Okay, so you have 192 root 3 minus 64 pi in parentheses centimeters squared. It tells me it's centimeters. Don't forget it's area, so it's squared. Okay, so that had multiple steps in there. Okay, and finding the exact answer. Now, sometimes on the DCAS, they'll say around the nearest tenth. So if they say that or hundredth, then you put pi in the calculator. That's usually what they do on the DCAS. I want you to solve for exact answer. So you practice your 30, 60, 90s as well in this. All right, number 11. What's the area of a circle with diameter 12? Well, if the diameter is 12, that means the radius is 6. In the formula for area of a circle right here, pi r squared, so you just fill it in 36 pi. And then square yards. Get the units right there. Area is always squared. All right, number 12. Segment PA, we know that's a tangent, so if there was a center of the circle, we know that would be at 90 degrees. Okay, you should know that automatically. It's not involved in this question, but you should always be reviewing your vocab. And we know whenever it's a tangent, we square the tangent. So it's tangent squared always. And for a secant, it's the outer times the whole every time. Of course, this is on your DCAS sheet as well. Okay, so PA is 7, so 7 squared is 49, as it shows right there. The outer is X. I don't know what it is, but they do give me the whole length of PC being 13. So now I just got to divide by 13, and there's my answer. And just put on any units if there's units given. There's no units given, so just 49/13. Okay. Number 6. The clock has a diameter of 14 inches. That means its radius is 7. Okay, what's the distance along the edge of the clock? That's what fraction out of 360. 2 pi r, because it's distance along, that's distance around, that's called circumference, which is 2 pi r. From the minute hand to the hour hand at 7 p.m. So there's 6, so there's 7. Excuse me. All right, allergies. 7. We already know since there's 12 numbers, 360 divided by 12 is 30 degrees. So every time I go one number, I'm going 30 degrees. From 12 to 7 is 5 of them. 5 times 30 is 150 degrees. Or I could have just looked at it as 5/12 of the whole, as I did here, 5/12 of the whole circle. Times 2 pi r, and since the diameter is 14, the radius is 7. The 2 will cancel with the 12 6 times. And then 5 times 7 is 35 pi over 6 inches. You told me inches up here. Exact answer. Notice I knew to go from 7 to 12 because it says use the minor arc. Remember, minor arcs are less than 180 degrees. Major arcs are between 180 and 360. So I would not be going around the other direction. 13. We have a tangent and a secant again, but just different information this time. It says PA is tangent, ray PC is the secant, PA is 6. We know how to square that. That's why we have the 36 there. And then it's the outside, which is 4 times the whole. So this piece is x, but the whole would be 4 plus x. Or x plus 4, same thing. That's where people are going to mess it up right there. So now I go ahead and I could divide each side by 4. I could have distributed, but since 4 divides into 36 evenly, that's the quickest route. Divide by 4 and you get 9 equals x plus 4. Subtract the 4 across and you get x equals 5. You can plug it back in to verify you're right. All right, backside. We have arc BD 174, arc AC. Oh no, angle, we don't know, so that's x. Angle P is 24 degrees, that's why that's right there. We know it's the outer minus the inner arc, or bigger arc minus small arc, equals double the angle. 2 times 24 is 48. So just add that across and subtract that across, and x equals 126. 20, arc, if we have an inscribed quadrilateral, so remember that you should know that opposite angles are supplementary automatically with inscribed quadrilaterals. Arc CD is 68, then arc AD is what? Well, they gave me this was 90, so then this has to be 90. So that means the whole arc from here to here is 180. Well, this side is 68, so that means this side has to be 112, right there. Okay. And that's what they asked for. Arc AD, 112 then. Okay. So now, the next one says arc BA is 148 right here. Remember, that means this whole thing from here to here is 180 because that's opposite 90. So you gotta double that. So that means arc BC is 32. And that's what it's asking for. 15. PA is x. That's the tangent again. We know it's tangent squared equals the outer times the whole every time. So 4 times the whole of x plus 12. So now we have a quadratic. So we have x squared equals 4x plus 48. First thing you do with all quadratics is set equal to 0. So I moved it to the left side because we want x squared to be positive. It's positive on the left side. This does not factor, so I need to go ahead and use quadratic formula. Or I could also just type that equation in the graphing calculator because we're going to round to the nearest tenth. I forgot to add that in there, nearest tenth. I mean, I'll take nearest tenth on your test here, okay? Because I think that's usually how they always have the decast. You should be able to do a quadratic formula, but if this is a graphing calculator problem, you could just type it in the graphing calculator and get your 9.2 right there. Okay. Remember, on the decast, they will give you the quadratic formula, the negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. They'll have that on your formula sheet. You just have to be able to apply it, plug in the numbers. For a, b is negative 4 and c is negative 48. And plug that in there. The reason you see a positive 48 on mine here because we had a negative, a minus, and a minus makes it a positive. Okay, and that's why then it's the positive there because you had a negative 48 and a negative in front of the 4. Negative times negative is positive. Okay, all right, next one. In terms of numbered angles, arc QR equals what? Well, if this angle 4, this is 2 times the measure of angle 4 right here. This angle 3, this is 2 times the measure of angle 3 right there. And we know the whole side itself is 180 degrees. So it's 180 minus 2 times the measure of angle 4 minus 2 times the measure of angle 3. That will give me that QR little piece right there. Okay, let's erase that. If the measure of angle 2 is 65, well, first off, I should immediately see this is 90 degrees because it goes the ends of the diameter. So it's half of its arc of 180 is 90. So I have a right triangle right there. If that's 65, the other two angles have to be complementary. 65 plus what is 90? 25. So angle 1 is 25. And arc ST would be double that, so that'd be 50. If arc RST, if this right here, equals 117, then angles 1 plus 4, there's 1 plus 4 is those right there. It's going to be half of it. So it's half of 117, 58.5. There's angles 1 plus 4. So there's its intercepted arc right there. Inscribed angle, half of it. All right, 22, graph the circle. We know it's opposite square root. So negative 2, 3. Square root of 9 is 3. So plot negative 2, 3. Count out 3 in each direction. And do your best to draw a circle. 16, the ratio of the arcs. Remember, whenever I say colon, I put an X behind it. Okay? So the ratio of arcs, AB is 3X. BC is, or AC, sorry, AB is 1X, BC 3X, and AC 6X. Well, all those create the circle, which is 360 degrees. So you have 10X, 6X plus 3X plus 1X is 10X equals 360, so X equals 36 degrees. So now I can fill, so that's 1X, that's 36 degrees. Arc AC, the big arc, is 6X. So 6 times that is 216. And then I know it's big arc minus little arc equals double the angle. So that's what you see right there. 180 equals 2 times measure of angle P divided by 2, and you get measure of angle P is 90 degrees. Remember, looks don't matter. We go by the numbers. Okay. 23, write an equation circle with points at the end of the diameter. You just had this on your quiz. Use the midpoint formula. 8 plus negative 4 is 4. Divided by 2 is 2. Here's your x coordinate. Negative 6 plus 2 is negative 4. Divided by 2 is negative 2. There's your y coordinate. So now I know to do the opposite and the opposite. X minus 2 quantity squared, y plus 2 quantity squared is the left side. There's my center right there. The right side, remember, is always r squared. So all I gotta do is go from here to this point. How far is from 2 to negative 4? That is 6. How far is from negative 2 to positive 2? That is 4. Square each of those and add them together. 36 plus 16 is 52. That's what you have right there. Okay. All right. 17. We have two tangents. Okay. Arc AB is 119, which I have there. Find angle P. Well, since there's only two arc 119 there, and the other arc is the whole rest of it for a total of 360, so you go 360 minus 119 is 241. And now we know the rule is big arc minus little arc equals 2 times the angle, so 2x. So subtract from 122 equals 2x divided by 2, and you get x equals 61. Okay, so there's your answer. Circle it or box it in. Number 24, complete the square to write the equation in standard form. Notice I haven't identified center and radius, so I just have to put it in standard form. So I match my x's together, my y's together. So I have x squared plus 2x plus 1. That's my blank. Remember, half of b is 1 squared plus y squared minus y plus blank. Half of -1 is -1/2. Squared is 1/4 equals 2 plus 1 1/4 or 5/4. So that's going to equal 3 1/4 on the right side, or 13/4. You could use 3 1/4, you could plug in there, or 13/4, same thing. And I know it's x plus half of b, so it's x plus 1 squared, and y plus half of b, so y minus a half quantity squared for my center right there. Part b is identify the center and radius, so we go opposite, opposite, so it's -1, 1/2, square root. So it's square root of 13 over square root of 4, which then simplifies to square root of 13 over 2. Remember, I can have square roots in the numerator, just none in the denominator. If there's one in the denominator, I need to rationalize the denominator. All right, 18. QPS is 76. That means QRS, that arc, is double that, 152. And that's that answer. If arc RST is 148, then what is angle RNT? This angle right here. That's the inscribed angle of that. Half of that, 74. Very simple. All right, number 25. It says angle TSU is 30. So that's 30. You gotta be able to know your angles, where they are. Angle R is 45 up there. I can call it angle R because there's only one angle there. I could not call it angle S because there's 3 angles there at S. That's why you had to use 3 letters. Remember, I told you that's the safest way, using 3 letters. X equals 12. Okay, well, that's opposite the 60-degree side, 60-degree angle. So 12 is a 60-degree side. Well, what do I do with the 60-degree side? I said equal to x root 3. Divide by root 3 on both sides. And I get a radical in the denominator. I got to rationalize the denominator by multiplying by root 3 over root 3. And then I get 12 root 3 over 3, because you should know root 3 times root 3 is 3. And then 12 divided by 3 cancels down to 4 root 3. So 4 root 3 for the 30-degree side. And then, of course, I double that to 8 root 3 for the hypotenuse. And that is the 45-degree side in the next triangle up. And so 45, 45, 90, I multiply by root 2. So 8 root 3 times root 2 to get the hypotenuse gives me my 8 root 6 for y. All right, 19. If little f, remember that's opposite of big F, little f always represents a side length, big F represents an angle measure. Little d, opposite big D, is 21. Find angle F, right here, theta, or angle F to the nearest hundredth. So I have to use SOHCAHTOA. First thing I identify is my hypotenuse. There's my adjacent side, and there's my opposite side. So I have opposite or hypotenuse, which is sine. Remember, you gotta be able to spell SOHCAHTOA correctly. Okay, so sine is opposite or hypotenuse. That's what I'm going to use. Sine of theta equals opposite or hypotenuse 9/21. I need to solve for theta. I got to get rid of that sine. How do I get rid of sine? Inverse sine. So whatever I do to one side, it does the other side, so that cancels it out. Inverse sine of 9/21. Now I have to put in the calculator. Remember, I got to hit mode first, change it from radians to degrees, then go second exit to go back to the home screen, do second sine button, because that's what gives you the inverse. And then 9 divided by 21, and then hit enter, and round to the nearest hundredth, and it gives you 25.38. All right, last one. 7 is little a, 25 is c. I should recognize that as a 7, 24, 25 Pythagorean triple. Another reason you memorize your Pythagorean triples. Otherwise, you have to use Pythagorean theorem to get that 24, or else you can't do any of the problems almost. All right, so sine of a. Notice this switches between angle B and angle A. So let's just do the angle A's first. So angle A, theta is there. Sine of that. So first identify opposite and hypotenuse first, opposite and adjacent. So what's the sine? Opposite or hypotenuse, 7 over 25. That one's done. Now go to secant of A. Secant of A is 1 over cosine, or the reciprocal of cosine. Cosine, remember, is adjacent or hypotenuse, which would be 24 25ths, but we want the reciprocal of that, which makes it 25 24ths. Cotangent is the reciprocal of tangent. Remember, tangent is opposite over adjacent. That'd be 7 over 24. But we want cotangent, which is a reciprocal of that, 24 over 7. Now we change theta to be at angle B, right there. So now we can do the other three. These three right here. Cosine, so here we have opposite now. There's adjacent. Cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse, so 7 over 25. So we have there. Tangent is opposite over adjacent, 24 sevenths. Cosecant is the reciprocal of sine. The sine was 24 25ths. The reciprocal would be 25 24ths. And now we have all three there. So don't get caught up thinking they're all at the same angle. It's going to randomly give you either A or B right here. You got to check each one. Do all of them at the same time, all the A's together, do those first, then do all the B's together. Remember, H is not going to change, but the A and the O change depending on where the theta is. Okay, that goes ahead and answers all the questions. 27 minutes.